I'm back with more super coolness, and I wanted to talk about Venus square to Neptune in the composite chart. An aspect I see a lot of in my practice because I do a lot of relationship astrology. So, Venus is our love nature. It is our style of love, how we want to be loved and how we want to get love, our love language. And very much describes our taste in pleasure, sensuality, fun, friends, romance, social things, food, our tastes of all kinds, our Venus. And so Neptune is really the higher octave of Venus, where I say Venus is raw sugar and Neptune is refined sugar. Neptune is what we wish to be the case. It is our illusions, our fantasies, our projections, our ideas of our ideals, and what we don't want to see, what we would rather avoid because we want to see what we want to see. So it's avoidance, escapism, romance, represents Hollywood, all things that are illusory. And so when these two meet in a square in a composite chart, and composite charts are, it's really the birth chart of the relationship itself. So you read it like a natal chart, but keep in mind that it's describing the relationship between two people. These two people blend in such a way where they are thickly, mutually projecting their romantic ideals and fantasies and what they would like to see onto each other, and this results in us not seeing what's in front of us and us not seeing it clearly. So disillusion is going to come about eventually because we can't remain in this state of perfection or of denial. It's always going to be a reality check. It's usually going to come after the relationship actually begins the process of relationship building. So projection is really thick on both sides, and this creates a lot of expectations about what the other one is about and what they're going to bring us, what they're going to do for us, how they are going to enhance and beautify and ultimately decorate our lives. Those are the things that we are really making a lot of assumptions about. And the chances, and sometimes we're also doing some planning, about this. We can be talking about those things. A lot of times this is involved in a one-sided relationship though. But if it's a mutual feeling on both sides, they're talking about, this is one of those aspects where we're only dating for days and we're already planning on moving to a foreign country together and living out our lives, and I'm going to do this for you and you're going to do this for me, and it's going to be this amazing, and I finally found my ideal, and that is this square. And so the relationship is never going to be able to live up to these high expectations. It's never going to happen. And it could be that these high expectations are on one side. It could be that they are mutual. You have to look at the synastry to see what is the nature of that. Because we can't live in a state of perfection where we're not seeing or allowing in information that's to the contrary. And so the relationship often, when we see the square, so often, the circumstances of the relationship are what is keeping it from actually becoming a real thing. The situation, the life situation that the people find themselves in is not blendable in such a way that their love natures actually are being expressed in a very regular fashion. So yeah, we can see this one in the composite charts of affairs. That's not uncommon. Because we typically find out that the circumstances between us, the situations we find ourselves in, are not conducive to the ideas and the assumptions that we have made about each other. So, there's a lot of romantic feelings that can be seen with this one, and or felt with this one. And it's not that this one is never present in functioning composite charts. It can be. It can show up in otherwise healthy relationships and show a certain amount of obstacle that they have had to overcome in getting through these things. All hard aspects to from Neptune to the personal planets or the ascendant or the midheaven, well, less the midheaven, but definitely the ascendant and the personal planets, hard aspects in composite charts from Neptune to those places are really talking about a need to get real and a need for a certain amount of disillusion so we can have reality come in and really start to see something as it is and choose it for what it is. So the fog is always going to blow away at some point when we have thick Neptune, always. And usually we aren't going to like what we see because it's not what we have created in our minds. It's not what we've chosen to see. So we feel robbed. We feel like, well, but I'm getting something that I didn't sign up for. Or you're selling me a raw deal here, where it's not them. It's not them. It's you. And you have to be the one that decides that you are going to see things as they are, and whether or not you are going to accept that person, situation, circumstance, whatever it may be that Neptune's been clouding, you have to accept it as it is. So if you can do that, which we rarely do with Neptune, because the disappointment and the whining and the sense of being robbed and I'm never going to have what I want is so thick, we tend to remain in that. Sometimes the wise person sees beyond it and decides that, okay, we've had a breakdown or we've had a reality check here, or I'm seeing things as they are and I may not like it, but now I have the chance to choose it. That is when we can make Neptune real. That is when we have the chance to actually love someone for what they are instead of what we've been unconsciously accusing them of being. So we can decide to start exploring the relationship in a way that is not illusory when we come to that place of really seeing things as they are, or that otherwise known as the turn right off the freeway of life to camp disappointment. When we take that turn, most of us, we find a way to get right back on that freeway. Some of us do pursue the relationship and see, what can I build from this, from what I'm really seeing? What is the reality here? And can I accept that? Can I do something with that? Sometimes we can. Sometimes, because this actually, it denotes an incredible spiritual connection that if we work through the process of really seeing things as they are, we can have the good things associated with this aspect, which is romance, a high degree of spiritual connection, a high degree of intuitive connection where we can feel each other's feelings even when we're not present. And we do that in the very beginning of the relationship with this, we do. But then the resentment and the fog and the disappointment comes in. It really clouds that conduit, that connection, that spiritual connection that we've been feeling in the beginning, that, I can feel you even if you're 1,000 miles away. And it lends to that really kind of infatuation kind of feeling. Well, you can get that back. You can have that for real with the square and with any hard aspects from Neptune if you work for it, if you understand that you have to accept things and people and relationships as they are, people mostly as they are, and love them for what they are when we can do that, we can start appreciating the actual qualities they have, because Venus is the original ruler of quality and qualities. The qualities of the other person are being glossed over, or are being not seen, or are being confused, or are being just sometimes we're even lying about those qualities ourselves to the other person when we have this particular square, because we want to be seen as perfect. We know they see us as perfect, and we want to respond in kind, and we think we're doing the right thing. It turns out we've not been really truthful about what we are. We've been showing them what they want to see. And then, 6 months later, and you've done it 500 times, or there ain't no mystery left, or maybe you use the bathroom after the other one leaves, and it's like, whoa, is this what I'm dealing with here? Then we start, take her right off the relationship to Camp Disappointment. Well, we have to understand that they are as they are. They're not going to be as we need them to be. And who are you anyway to expect that anybody should be as you think they should be? Who are you? So we have to get really real about Neptune aspects if we want to make them real. They're usually killers, but it doesn't have to be that way. You can work through it. You can. Usually it takes a lot of therapy. It takes couples therapy. It takes counseling. It takes time, because trust is broken. It isn't that the other person is broken. It's that they haven't lived up to what we thought they would, and so we think that our trust in them is broken. Or we can start doing things that are not necessarily honest in Neptunian relationships, but typically we're under the impression that this is what I have to do in order to keep you happy, in order to get my needs met, and it creates this atmosphere of dishonesty. And so if we can, really plant our relationship flag in the ground and say, I know it looks bad, I know that the gloves have really come off here, but I am going to see what there is to work with. I am going to see if I can work with what is actually here. If I can be happy with this, a lot of times we can. Because you are attracted to them for a reason. Unless it's all a buttload of crappy, elusive Neptune and all a buttload of crappy, hard Pluto, there's some good things there. And there's usually things to build on and things to work with. So in itself, this square does create an element of massive disappointment, or a feeling of being robbed, or just not ever being able to come together in any kind of real relationship, because the circumstances of your lives do not support that. We can work with it if we have some other healthy things going on. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, please subscribe to my channel. You can find me on the internet at truthandaspectastrology.com. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Truth and Aspect Astrology, and I am mainly a relationship and intimacy astrologer, but I do all types of astrology and interpret all types of charts, and I'll be back super soon with more super cool videos. Bye.